I decided to return to Queen's University for a number of reasons. The first reason is because having completed my doctorate at Queen's, I knew the community of scholarship here, and I knew the collegiality and support that faculty members had for one another, and that extends naturally to the student community as well. And I genuinely wanted to work in that kind of environment. The focus of my research is on classroom assessment and helping teachers do better with how they measure student learning in their teaching and learning practice. So how do teachers construct assessments, tests, rubrics, quizzes, things like that, but also how do they engage their students in dialogues about their learning, in feedback about their learning, and in constructing that feedback to support student learning. I think I gravitated towards assessment and evaluation generally because it has such a high impact in classrooms, both in terms of teaching and the washback effect of assessment structures on how a teacher engages instruction, but also on how students learn. So my interest is really in how we construct assessment structures that enable learning and that open learning to new ways of understanding and new representational formats that aren't based on the traditional way that we would do assessment. And that really engage students in a dialogue or a dialogic process of learning. So assessment can really open up into a conversation about student learning, but giving teachers the knowledge and the opportunity to learn how to do that is something that my research endeavors to do. Given the growing emphasis and value of formative assessment and classroom teachers' assessment practices on student learning, we're seeing a refocusing on what the teacher does to actually use assessments to support learning. And so my research really is all about how do we educate teachers so that they're able to do that better. So it fits directly in with current policy mandates towards assessment-driven teaching or data-driven teaching. It also supports teachers in being responsive with their pedagogy and their curricular approach because they're using assessment information to guide their instruction. I think Queen's has a unique research community for a number of reasons. First, its size allows for a lot of opportunity for faculty members and students and researchers from across units to connect with one another. That it's not too big that you can't make connections. It's also not too small that there aren't anybody to make connections with. The Faculty of Education has some really strong scholars in it who aren't just thoughtful and critical and at the edge of their fields, but are also lovely people who know how to joke and who know how to have fun together. And so doing research in this environment doesn't feel like a job. And so I'm often compelled by the idea of what is the new contemporary scholar and what does that mean and what does that look like and how can we actually dismantle traditional boundaries and understandings of that to actually allow for not only different identities of scholars, but also what would naturally follow from that, which is different representations of scholarship. So I think by having spaces to do that actually pushes academic thinking and products further.
One by one, you and me, that's how we build community. Take the step, take your turn, learn to teach, teach to learn, support, connect, collaborate, be a part, help us create. Yeah, one by one, you and me, that's how we build community.